Hey, welcome back to Night Owl Mogwai Talk, keeping you up on the latest Mogwai news, or at least the Mogwai news I want to talk about. And this week I want to talk about Gremlins, Secrets of the Mogwai, Season 1. There's only 2 episodes left. This is the second to last one, the penultimate episode, if you will. So enough of me and my talking. I may not be rad, but I'm at least radish. Sorry. Let's go to episode 9. Okay, our penultimate episode opens on every Western depiction of China or Chinatown ever, except this time it's animated. A bunch of people are watching fireworks explode in the sky when a small child points out, "Hey look, did you guys ever see that movie Independence Day?" But the audience remembers this is where episode 8 left off, with the entire gremlin population now evil and jumping through a magic portal to arrive in 1920 Shanghai to wreck shop. We then cut to the gremlin interpreter, Noggin, who's walking down the street enjoying the chaos he's helped create, when he notices a guy with a look he just has to have. I've been there. And after a second or two of off-screen murder, ta-da, Dr. Mindbender. Or maybe Colonel Clink for my older crowd. Speaking of references to old stuff, we see our guy Henchman number 2 and his friend Hot Gremlin Vomit wash up on the shore. I'm glad to see they're okay after the gremlins threw them overboard. A lonely death at sea seemed unfortunate for somebody we liked. But after their long journey swimming back to Shanghai, arriving at their destination, they now find the tiny monsters that threw them overboard, literally raining from the sky. So the two of them decide it's best their little buddy comedy movie they got going wash up on some other shore, and back into the water they go. Then, amidst the terror, destruction, and awfulness, we see Ms. Claw still holding Gizmo hostage with the knife of creation. Since that's a good synopsis of where we're at in that story, we then cut to the Genesis moon, where Captain Kirk sits calmly and Lieutenant Savick paces and ponders how to solve the unsolvable problem. Ma and Pa Wing are venting some of their hostility they've built up towards Riley Green over the last several episodes. Pop Wing takes a second from reenacting a Hostel movie to comfort Sam about his feelings of inadequacy over not being a successful hero. But Elle is an orphan and hates to see a family getting along and functioning properly, so she tries to murder them. Pop Wing and Sam are like, "Well, this is a strange change of affairs, Elle. Why would you do something like that?" Ma Wing says, "This doesn't look like attempted murder. This looks like attempted vandalism." Elle says, "You're darn right, buddy, because I knew none of you goody-goodies had it in you to do this." And before she even gets a chance to explain her thought process to the Wings, a portal opens up behind her and out pops the Celestial Administrator. He looks around and says, "What's going on here? What have you done? Don't you know when I sent you here, I told you a bunch of things you weren't allowed to do and vandalism was one of them?" Elle said, "Yeah, I do remember you saying that, and my mom always told me the fastest ride home is the cops." C to the Izze says, "I'm not a taxi service, and since you like the law so much, I'm going to throw the whole book at you. The punishment for vandalism is being sent to the worst place in the universe, and that currently is," and Elle says, "the Velma cartoon?" And he says, "No, Shanghai." So a portal opens up, and Elle looks back and says, "Don't ever try to Kobayashi Maru me." So the whole fam plus Elle and Riley drop into the old Wing family medicine, and before they can even dust themselves off, as is customary from a cartoon fall, a crazed gremlin pops through the store front door. But before his menacing can even get into full swing, they punch him in the face, and they use the hole in the door as a portal into the world going on outside. Riley says, "These tiny monsters are too evil to be called Mogwai. They remind me of something we talked about in the Royal Air Force. These are Bong." Pop Wing hits him in the back of the head with a wok, which is a callback to when Elle did it toward the end of episode 2. Pop Wing says, "Things are bad enough without having to listen to that guy talk." And Mom Wing says, "That's the hottest thing I've ever seen. You kids go in the back and find some stuff to patch up this door. Mommy and Daddy need some alone time." In back, Elle explains to Sam, "Okay, now that we've got Mom and Dad back home safe, like I promised I would help you do, we have to go find Gizmo and that knife and save the world." And Sam says, "I'm not an adventurer. The main reason all this happened is because it's me. It's my fault." And unfortunately, Wing family medicine hasn't figured out a cure for erectile dysfunction, so Ma and Pa Wing come barging into their conversation, and Ma Wing says, "Look, our family needs to stay together. You can do whatever you need to do, but we're here safe." And Elle is once again reminded, "Oh yeah, I'm an orphan. It's a hard knock life." So Elle says, "Screw you guys, I'm going not home," and goes running out into the streets to find and save Gizmo. But she only gets 3 or 4 feet before she's attacked by an evil gremlin, and like the psychopath she is, she stabs it to death repeatedly with the end of her umbrella. Girl, you need a hug and a counselor. And she turns a corner and sees she's basically entered Black Hawk Down, so she's not going to last very long out on these streets, and she needs to get off and quick. She sees a car to steal, and quick hops behind the wheel, and even though I doubt her feet could reach the pedals, she manages to take off, and she short rounds around town looking for Gizmo. But instead she sees Noggin at an outdoor haberdashery trying on hats, and she puts the pedal to the metal and she's gonna run him down. Luckily, for the sake of comedy, Noggin dodges out of the way, Elle crashes into something, hops out of the car, grabs Noggin by the neck and pins him up against the throat, and begins to threaten him like the lunatic she is. She wants to know where's Gizmo and Ms. Claw. He says Madam Claw is running that nightclub right over there. Elle throws Noggin in a fruit cart. Oh my. And away he rolls, and off she goes to rescue Giz. We then cut back to the latest Purge sequel that is the Wing Family Medicine Shop, and Pop and Sam have almost got that door boarded up. We'll just go ahead and ignore those two big picture windows on either side of it. Sam's got a sad look on his face, so Mom explains to him, "Boy, you're not an adventurer like that. How many times does the world have to tell you?" Now going back and get some more nails for this wood. He finds the old mystery box, and he sees one of those talisman left over from the last time when he truly was brave. He then puts the box on, and out the door he goes. Pop notices, and him and Ma Wing go chasing behind him. Since the tension is heightened, we have to what? Cut away. We see the outside of Chun's Lung, where the Gremlins are doing usual Gremlin in a bar stuff. 3 or 4 jokes on screen at once, the music's jumping, and Madam Claw is dressed like a flapper with her favorite pet sitting on her lapper. Sorry. We see some hep cats kicking out that groovy jazz, and we also see Elle getting past the outer defenses. Gizmo escapes for 1 second and tries to grab some cutlery off the table, but accidentally grabs a spoon instead of a knife and has to play it off like he was trying to put on a performance. The people at the next table think it's so awesome, they love it, and this George Burns-looking dude pops whatever the Gremlins cartoon equivalent of Dom Perignon is to celebrate. The cork hits Flapper Claw right in the nose and knocks her back for 1 second. Cork Popper's like, uh-oh, this ain't gonna be good. Madam Claw's got her heavy metal album cover knife out faster than you can say Shazam, and she zaps Bottle Service right in the face, and he turns into a Funko Pop. Gizmo's like, yeah, that's all great. You guys take it easy, bye. Ms. Claw's like, oh, no, you don't. So she gives Gizmo a good zap, and he returns back to the birdcage he was in episode 1. Everything coming full circle. Ms. Claw's like, no one cares about your love of story structure. Gizmo, dance. And dude does a mean Charleston, so much so that he distracts everybody from noticing that Elle is now in the room and slowly sneaking up on getting Gizmo back. We then cut to Sam and Ma and Pa Wing running through the back alleys of Shanghai. They're arguing about whether or not Sam should be doing this as they jog. Eventually, the mic drop moment had to happen in that argument, and she points out, Grandpa is dead because of all this. You need to stop. And before Sam gets a chance to explain himself, he's attacked by a gang of gremlins. He pulls out one of his little ninja exploding bombs, and a giant dust cloud explodes out over everything. Sam then gets up and takes an old random board and busts it over the head of all the gremlins remaining. Mom and Pa Wing are like, dang, this dude grew up over 9 episodes. Okay, I guess that's all we needed to see. Go get him, Tiger. And with that demonstration of skill, we cut back to Chun's Lung, and we've got black spots all over it. The gremlins inside the nightclub are doing their usual gremlin stuff. Our guy Sideburns is crooning out a hit, while Elle stealthily tiptoes through the shadows. Some gremlins acting the fool, swinging on the chandelier, crash to the ground and almost kill Ms. Claw. Uh-oh. So Madam Claw has had enough of the insubordinate tomfoolery going on by the knuckleheads around her, and she begins zapping people. First she makes one into a bobblehead, then she zaps another one and turns him into a blacklight poster. Arguably, this one looks kind of delicious, like taffy or something. I want to eat that gremlin. Elle uses the distraction to finally make her way to Gizmo in the birdcage, but the gremlins catch her, and she gets cornered on stage. Ms. Claw points the knife at her, jumps up on stage, slowly, menacingly creeping toward her, and she snatches Gizmo away and decides to pose for the airbrushed portrait on the side of a really cool guy's van. But before she can zap Elle and give her really giant earlobes or whatever the hell she was gonna do, Ma and Pa Wing showed up, and they're part of the lighting department. It's incredibly important in show quality, don't you know? Elle then snatches up Gizmo and runs him back to the Wing family, and Sam and Gizmo have an adorable reunion, while Ms. Claw starts to bubble under the hot lights. Elle uses this as a chance to sack the quarterback, but QB1 fumbles. The scrabble for the loose ball is on. Unfortunately, Ms. Madam Flapper Claw grabs it first and zaps herself right in the face and starts to become a kaiju. Somewhere around the 2 or 3 story mark, she becomes the same size as the original King Kong. Sam, Elle, and all the other terrified gremlins go running out of Chun's Lung. Once outside, Sam meets up with his family, and they have a touching reunion. Elle is then reminded, oh yeah, I'm an orphan. I almost forgot for a minute. I don't get kisses, I get kicks. It's a hard knock life. But Queen Klong has had enough of my bad Annie recitations and starts stomping on everything in sight as a good kaiju should. Little gremlins, people on the street, almost Elle. And since tension is at its highest, we have to cut away. We see 3 gremlins have made it through the boards holding the door closed at Wing Family Medicine. They look around and see nothing but a footlocker under a spotlight. By the way, when they gave Riley Green more brain damage with his second excessive hit to the head with a walk, they took his near lifeless body and they threw it inside this trunk before everybody left. Anyways, carry on, gremlins. They start to peek inside and jump scare. Riley with no hands eats one like it's a pie eating contest, tearing flesh off the monster's back as it screams in pain, and then his eyes glow as he rises up out of the box. The end. Man, this has been a wild, strange adventure, hasn't it? each week when you just think it can't get bigger and go even farther, they're like, how about if we literally make it bigger and turn one of the Gremlins into a kaiju? So now there's tiny monsters, and there's the opposite, which are giant monsters. We also have an angry wizard who's looking for revenge. This show has gone from very small to very big. I didn't think we would be here, especially not after only 10 episodes. It's crazy. Okay, so I guess that wraps up this episode. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What's going on? Did you like this episode, or did you think it peaked at some point? Now it's going downhill. Did you think we're escalating in tension, like it seems like I feel like we're going to? We're building to a climax, which is fun. A lot of these shows have a tendency to peter out in episode 9, and then they just sort of wrap things up in 10, and it's dumb. So if you like any of that, I think that's good. Whatever, I'll put some videos on this side. We'll put them on this side. The one before it, and whatever. Maybe the finale when it's done. I'll put the finale right there. You can see how this all turned out. Are you excited? I'm excited. Okay, I'll catch you next time. Bye.